The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Hey Neil, welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, Joe. How you been?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, Joe?
Yeah, so I hear today you came here to talk about some German editing.
Straight into it, huh? Straight into it, yeah. Something came up on my desk and you invited me with the news and I thought I'll clear it up for you.
Yeah, so what are we looking like when we're talking about this?
So we're talking about a new technology called CRISPR editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it basically edits your germline cells and changes your DNA to fix things that are wrong or add things to your DNA.
That sounds a bit like playing to God to me.
You believe in God, Joe?
Come on. Okay, so yeah, can you explain to me a little bit more of how the process goes on?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, let's talk about vocabulary, right? So germline cells are stem cells that generate various germ cells, including sperms and ovas for reproduction in humans. So they're very crucial, Joe. Very crucial.
Yeah.
All right. Me and you wouldn't be here without them. And they also can counter severe disease, and if without them, we'll be infertile and have cancer, possibly, right? And so the new CRISPR-Cas9, they call it, gives a new perspective on how germline cells can be edited for genetic mutations.
Okay, Neil, that sounds real interesting, but like, how do they do it? Can you just dumb it down for me a little bit?
Yeah, Joe.
Okay,
I got you.
sorry.
I got you. Yeah. So basically, CRISPR locus is placed in a certain part of bacteria that stores the DNA of invading viruses. So to dumb it down for you, Joe, basically the bacteria affects your DNA, right? And these infections makes the transcription of CRISPR locus, right, in the nucleus. So then when the RNAs, the CRISPR RNAs, the tracer RNAs guide the Cas9, which is the technology, that's what they call it, which is an endonuclease. So endonuclease is a group of enzymes that breaks phosphodiesterase bonds present with the polynucleotide chains of DNA molecule. So it basically breaks down your molecule and builds it back up better.
Okay,
right.
So what I'm kind of hearing right now is it's a bit like a molecular scissor, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting right now.
You can say that, yeah, for sure. And funny thing, my great friend, Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier discovered this, and they won a Nobel Prize for chemistry, yeah.
Well deserved, I think. Well deserved. Okay, so something that came across my TikTok feed the other day was
You watch TikTok, Joe?
Yeah, I watch TikTok. Neil. So something that came up is these people in China, man, they're beating this technology and they're editing their babies.
Yeah.
They're making their babies like superpowers, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a shopping store over there.
I heard about that too. He was called He Jiankui. He Jiankui, yeah. So he made the first twins babies, and he altered the DNA of twin girls Lulu and Nana to make them resistant to HIV.
Okay.
So same thing, and this was done edited in an embryo stage, so very early, yeah. And so funny thing, Joe, the Chinese arrested him.
No way. I find that's crazy. Our government getting involved in things that should be, man.
But you know what they arrested him for? Not even making the babies, for not having a license. That sounds controversial to me.
Yeah, very, very controversial, man. The government always getting in other people's business.
I don't know. I think it's a cover-up, Joe.
I think it's a cover-up as well.
Yeah. And that's when it started to get crazy with the UN. They had surveys. I'll tell you later, though, which countries agree with it or not. And that was when the UN had surveys on this. And China tried to cover it up.
No way.
Yeah.
Neil, that sounds real worrying to me, man. China's getting ahead of us again, and our own government's helping cover it up. So,
Joe, it is.
Why isn't our government doing this?
You know, funny thing, we're not so far behind, Joe. If you don't believe it, we're right next to China, even ahead of them, and we're more moral than them, right?
Yeah, we are.
So in 2017 in Oregon, they did the same thing. They fertilized healthy oocytes with sperm cells from a carrier with a MYBPC mutation. Do you know what that is, Joe?
I have no idea, man. Dumb it down for me.
I'll dumb it down for you. So it's a heritable mutation that leads to a hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Okay.
So it's hereditary, right?
Yeah, hereditary.
So if you're bald and you give someone bald, that's hereditary.
Yeah, so
they can fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did that, but they didn't actually make a baby with it. They just made a sperm cell and basically pre-embryo fixed without a hereditable disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing here is Chinese government edited an actual baby, and the U.S. government just edited the sperms and the eggs. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So Oregon Health and Science University. I think they're pretty connected to the government, right?
Yeah. Another conspiracy.
Yeah, for sure. But that basically showed that we can do this. We can make it mutation free, right?
Okay.
And the research showed that in viable human embryos using genome editing is feasible. And also, the British did it too, right? The British did it too. But it basically confirmed the Chinese theory that they did it also.
Okay. So Neil, I'll ask you a question here. Theoretically, you see, I'm bald. If you were to play around with my genes when I was a baby, could you make me have hair again?
It's gonna be hard to do. You're really bald, Joe, but I think it's possible. I think from what we've been seeing, I think it's possible.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Neil, who actually supports this? Like, we're talking about China, probably Russia, probably NATO, big government conspiracies, but which countries are actually supporting this?
So funny thing, Joe. No one. Can you believe that?
No one. No way.
But they have
we know of.
these governments that we draw borders around the world. I love Earth, I love the space, but these governments, they don't allow you to make a baby out of it.
Okay.
You can edit it, but not for reproduction.
Okay.
So that's how Oregon got away with it, right? But when China did it, that wasn't said. They didn't take the survey, right? So funny thing, they did a survey in the UN, and 11 countries permitted it, but not for the purpose of reproduction. 4 prohibited it, but with exceptions, like for diagnostics, research, and like taking away mutations that hurt people and affect people's lives, right? But when it came to reproduction, as I said, no country in the world has permitted it, and for different reasons too, Joe. A lot of them are legislations in the countries that protect infants, protect embryos, and all of those things, and also for religious reasons. Most countries have religious-based people, and they're left and right sided, right?
Yeah.
So they protect natural way of life, and most of them think it's morally wrong to do that. But Joe, that doesn't, just because it's illegal doesn't mean they can't do it, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's really scary to me, man. I'm just thinking of a world right now where everyone's genetically modified into superhumans, and I guess all the rich people getting richer with their superhuman babies and leaving the rest of us behind.
And it's very good for military too, Joe. And I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because it could be good, but it also could be bad, right? So recently they did a research and a survey some type on the military, and they just gene editing. Basically what they said was, why don't we use this gene editing to protect our soldiers from chemical attacks and biological attacks, right? And again, it's not reproduction now, it's now you, a grown-up, changing your DNA to be effective against a type of virus or a type of biological attack that affects your nervous system. Okay. That's what they were trying to change.
Yeah. And what are people's reactions to this? Are they mixed reviews?
They think it's just good and bad at the same time, because we remember what you said, we can make people taller. This could be a step in that direction, right? And it could also be used for the opposite way. Rather than I change you for the better, I change the enemy for the worse.
That is that's very scary, man.
For sure. And to dumb it down for you a little bit more, Joe.
Dumb it down for me, man.
It critiques the idea, because we're no longer using for hereditary gene editing. It's more a somatic change, and it's more like a vaccine that covers you from future attacks, right?
So what this kind of sounds to me like is this is more like going into a shopping mall and just selecting different traits you want to be, That's pretty scary stuff, man.
Elon Musk might add to it, right? And if Elon Musk add to it, it's gonna change the whole world.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Am I right? But it's still not right, Joe, because we still don't know the effects, because it could be super long term.
Yeah.
Right?
So something is like, this is what I'm just wondering now. If I was to get gene edited, would it pass down to my children?
That depends. If it's somatic, it will not, right?
Yeah.
But it will change your DNA, maybe for the best, maybe for the worst. It could affect your immune system.
Okay.
And cripple its identifying natural occurring enzymes reliable for homeostasis in your blood. Okay. And also it could be cancer, but we won't know for a while.
No way.
Right? But the good thing is, if you do it, only you get affected, not your children.
That's real interesting stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Neil. Okay, so Neil, if I was to get genetically modified so that it is hereditary for my children, how could that affect my children, man?
So again, the risk that comes with it. Now, if it's not somatic, if it's hereditary, everything that falls on you now falls on your children too, and their children, and their children. So, you know how we get genetic mutations and, you know, we get different features, same thing could be passed on and passed on and passed on. So it's almost impossible to predict, which makes the risk incalculable, right?
Okay.
So a proper risk assessment must include coming generations as well. The other obvious critics is issues conflicting with technology, and both morally and with religion, as I said. So if I change you, I'm going to change the whole world.
Yeah.
Right? And another thing is, what if I change you when you are not even fertilized with an egg, right? You as a sperm, we change you 40 years before, and you don't even have a brain to consent with it, right? That's why it has been banned in the US, it has been banned all over the world, and no country permits it.
Okay, that's real scary stuff, man. So pretty much what I'm getting out of this conversation is that genome editing of the CRISPR-Cas9 type, it holds a great possibility for germline cell edits, offering the possibility to prevent genetic diseases and enhance human health. While the technique's origins and advancements demonstrate significant scientific achievements, the ethical and societal implications are deep in conversation and debate. The controversial case of the Chinese CRISPR babies and the experimental success in therapeutic germline intervention underscore both the promise and the peril of this technology. Supporters emphasize the benefits, comparing gene editing to vaccines against severe diseases. While critics caution against the unknown long-term effects and moral considerations, as global legislation and ethical debates evolve, it remains crucial to balance innovation with responsible oversight, ensuring that the advancement in genome editing benefits humanity without compromising ethical standards or safety.
For sure, Joe, for sure.
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Another thing I saw on TikTok, man, is
How's hunting, Joe? How's hunting? You
okay.
All right.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah, Jamie, pull that up. We forgot to talk about Jamie. Sorry, Jamie, we forgot you.
Neil, thanks for coming on, man. Let's go watch the UFC fights together.
Anytime. Let's go. Everybody.